All new tenancies will need to have a 5-year EICR before the tenancy starts, and that has been in place since the 1st of July of 2020. So I'm hoping that you all know that now. You must supply a copy of the latest report to any new tenant before they occupy. So along with all of your other documentations, you must provide this to the tenant. It doesn't form part of the DREG Act, as I've said earlier. Renewals of tenancy must comply because they are deemed as new tenancies. So if you have a tenancy that has renewed since the 1st of July, you must only renew that tenancy if you have a 5-year EICR in place. Important to note that this applies to all tenancies apart from resident landlord, and that means if you've got a lodger agreement, so you live in the property with your tenants. 10-year certificates are only valid for 5 years under the regulations. So if you have a 10-year cert that was carried out in 2022, that would 2012, that wouldn't be valid now. It needs to be within 5 years. And all tenancies have to have an EICR by the 1st of April 2021. That's retrospectively, so existing tenancies. And there was a lot of talk and lobbying about getting this extended because of the pandemic. But it looks like that we're not going to be successful in that. So please, as Janet mentioned earlier, be doing all that you can just to evidence that you're trying if you really cannot get them. Now, as we've just been discussing and with Paul, failed certificates, codes 1s must be completed immediately and code 2s must be completed within 28 days. Code 1s indicate immediate danger, so I would always recommend that you carry them out immediately as soon as possible. And code 2s within 28 days. Interestingly, we must provide a copy of the failed certificate and evidence that the works have been carried out to the local housing authority, so your local council, which is really interesting and something I find really funny because we keep sending all of our failed certificates, and since we started, 90% of our certificates failed. Guess what? They've had a lot of mail in their inbox, and they don't know what to do with it. They kept saying, we don't manage this property, we don't manage this property. And we're like, we know, we're complying with the new legislation. Guys, to remember, this is a landlord liability. So back to Janet. Janet, if you fail to comply with this legislation, and in fact it's your agent that has failed in their field, this liability falls to you directly and not agents. Many pieces of legislation fall to landlords and agents, but this piece of legislation is very clear that it's landlord liability. So failure to comply will fall on your doorstep, which is why good landlords, good agents are trying to make sure that these electric certificates are carried out. As I've already mentioned, the last 2 points, £30,000 maximum fine, and it doesn't form part of the Deregulation Act. Ali, do we have any questions?
Yeah, Dawn, we've had one come in from David, and it says, do social landlords have to comply in the same way as private landlords?
As always, the answer is no. This is specific to the private rented sector in England.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. That's it.